Christmas, and welcome to Hundredfold. My name is Patience Dayton, and I will be your host for the program. In the Gospel of Matthew, we hear the parable of the sower, who throws seed upon good soil, and it produces 100-fold. Today's guests have truly produced 100-fold, as they have thrown seed upon many different types of soil. Let's talk to the Easter sisters.
Sandy Easter-Graham and Denise Easter-Kramer, more affectionately known as the Easter Sisters, are the co-owners of Easter's Catholic Books and Gifts, a local Catholic goods store in Citrus Heights, California. Denise and Sandy offer a wide range of merchandise, suitable for any customer looking for the latest spiritual book, a new rosary, or a statue of their favorite saint. But beyond the scope of running a business, Sandy and Denise offer faith formation classes and other Catholic workshops, hosted by the best theologians and available at no cost to anyone who wants to participate. Although maintaining a faith formation ministry along with a Catholic gift store has been no easy task, the Easter Sisters continue to thrive by prayer and divine providence as they minister to the spiritual needs of the community.
Welcome to the show. Sandy, it's good to have you.
Good to
Denise,
meet you, Patience.
Pleasure to
Nice
have
to
you.
meet you.
We're happy to have you on Hundredfold. I want to know how business is going at Easter's.
Well, we've been open for 18 years, so that in and of itself is a big deal. Catholic bookstores have a lifespan of about 5 years, so we've kind of gotten over that hurdle. We like to say we're open only because of the grace of God, and we give Him all the glory for that.
So how has it been opening up the new store? Because I know you just switched locations. So how's that transition been?
We never dreamed we'd have to move again. We often said the last move would be the last move. Unfortunately, or fortunately I should say, God had another plan for us, and it's been a good move, I think so. We were kind of in a hole before, but we are on a hill now. It was a rough move in that the city, based on state and city regulations, decided that we needed to be closed for 3.5 months. So it was a little dicey during that time, and literally we were kept alive by the customers who said, "You're not going to die. We're going to make sure that you stay in business." And they required, or they encouraged us to start a GoFundMe page. And so it was through donations that kept us alive for 3.5 months and kept our Faith Formation Center alive for 3.5 months. So again, the grace of God.
And the beauty of this new store is that it is smaller, but we still have room for our Faith Formation Center, which was a big part of what we wanted to have. And I think we've sort of turned a little bit of a corner into how we've stocked the store. It's beautifully done. It's fresh. Yeah, I think we're a little more prepared to meet the kind of retail market that we're finding ourselves in today, you know, with all the internet, et cetera.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the Faith Formation Center.
The Faith Formation Center was born almost 5 years ago now, and it's an extension of the store. It is a way for us to prepare our Catholics to go out and spread the mercy of God. We have wonderful presenters, Professor Hamlin, John Hamlin, Father Pepka, who is an amazing history teacher, Nick Camerata, Ana Ramirez-Palmer, so many who have come to teach at our store. Joseph Holcraft,
Father
Bob
Art
Carroll, Father Art Weir. They come and they're rather surprised. A lot of times the groups aren't very big. We've probably had as small as 8 to 10, but as many as when Father Fessio was here, we had probably 75. But they're always amazed because of the exuberance and the interest that the people bring. These are people that really want to hear the truth so that they can spread it. So the Faith Formation Center is a natural extension for us of the store and has given us new life.
It's grown into a community, really.
It really has grown into a community.
It's a community, there's a core community, but it keeps expanding. And so you see new and different faces. The Thursday night.
Oh, the Thursday night literature class is amazing. And it's kept alive by donation too. So, because obviously that's just part of it. But we have kept it so that the classes are all free. And many times the classes are the same caliber that you would be paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for in a college. So
Additionally, we just were able to bring Father Jacques Philippe.
Oh, goodness, that is a blessing.
Phenomenal, from, as you know, from France. And it was on Thanksgiving weekend, so we almost canceled it because it was the only time we could get him. And lo and behold, we ended up with probably 350.
I
It
think
was
so.
on Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving Saturday.
It was so- oh,
Saturday
get ready
after
for the
Thanksgiving.
holidays.
Yes,
Get ready
yes.
for the holidays. You know, families are together, but we had over 300 people there.
And thanks to our staff for that, especially Charmaine Cooper, who put the event together, and she just does a beautiful job.
Now, we did charge for that event, but it was nominal. I mean,
Yeah.
we did have to charge for that because our expenses were fairly large. But those are the kind of things that we hope to do more of as we go forward. Bring good speakers locally to Sacramento. It's such a boost to the faith community to see other Catholics coming together in that setting where they can express their faith in a, I mean, Mass is beautiful. We all go to Mass, but we need to continue to feed that
Community is
outside.
such an important part.
It is.
Recently, I've had a new attendee on Thursday nights, and I asked her the following day, "Are you going to come back for the class on Saturday?" She said, "I went home and I said, that was so deep." She says, "I have looked for this group all my life." She says, "I found my people. This is exactly what I've looked for." So it's those kind of comments that keep us going and help us to know that God truly is in charge. It's not to anything other than His grace that is allowing this to happen.
And the Faith Formation Center is really the driving force behind struggling to maintain a retail store in the environment that we're in. You know, the retail store, I would say, has almost become secondary in importance to the Easter's Faith Formation Center. One, I mean, obviously we need it, and it supports the other. They support each other, but it is secondary to the Faith Formation Center.
But you know, with the store, we've really determined, so many people have gone online, and we do have a website. We have a website for our presence, but we really don't sell online, even though we will sell online, because we've realized that our ministry, our apostolate, our mission is in front of that individual. We really like being a part of the communication.
We haven't tried to grow that median because it's not really our...
It's not us.
It's not our ministry. It's not what we want to do. We don't want to be in that sit and serve capacity. We want it to be interactive, and
We need that connection as Catholics. You can't just like separate it.
No.
Right.
Yeah, we have to be there, and you know, it is just amazing the day-to-day contact that we are allowed to have with people. And through our personal experiences, we're able to, connect with people on their personal level. You know, it's a gift it's a gift.
It's a lot of times the first place that people start to get a feel of what the Catholic Church is. Because they know they're searching, they're not quite sure what they're searching for, and they're a little afraid of walking into a parish or walking into a church. So they'll come in and they'll look around, and you can sense it. We've seen such gifts.
We have at least one seminarian who's close to becoming a priest.
2 years from now, yep.
Who wandered into our store late one night in the rain. Not somebody that you would just go in, and we were locked, our doors were locked. Not somebody you would just go and say, "Oh, come on in." We didn't recognize him. And he was struggling with an occult issue with friends around him and being sucked into something. And Denise spent a great deal of time with him that night. And then over the course of the next few years, he would come and go and come and go, and we'd go, "Where is he? How come he hasn't been back?" And then he'd be back, and pretty soon he had a major conversion, and now he's in the seminary.
So you go from banking to all of a sudden a huge Catholic ministry is really what it is. It's not a bookstore, it's a ministry. So what's that change been like?
Let me tell you, we spent years advising small businesses on all the things that they needed to do, and be careful of these things. we've committed every sin that we warned against small businesses. So
It's like the deer in the headlights as far as,
Yes.
our own ability to apply our,
Yeah.
the Lord has a great sense of humor because we have been humbled in that instruction. So it was a nice foundation for us. I think customer service wise, because you obviously that's part of what we do. We've always tried to make people feel comfortable in the store. And that came, of course, in banking, you do the same thing. The financial aspect, you might as well throw it out of there.
I couldn't make our deposits for at least 3 years after we opened the store. I'd finally retired at 50. I was 50 when I retired. And it was just, I didn't want to go near a bank. So it took me about 3 years to say, okay, I'll do the deposit. I'll take it.
Yeah.
It was such a relief. Banking had become very oppressive, very sales-oriented, and I managed branches, and it was just almost a micromanagement daily, every day, hour by hour sometimes.
So we
Freedom.
keep the store very free-flowing as far as...
We don't have a lot of rules.
No, we don't have. We decided we are not going to have a whole lot of rules in here other than just mercy, grace, and prayer.
Even when the money's not coming across the counter, the engagement is there with people that come in. So it's...
You're researching, you're ordering, and the Catholic market is unique because there are so many small little apostolates that you have to buy from. And the sad part about that is there's a lot of times that we just can't bring it in because we don't have the manpower to follow each one of those apostolates and say, okay, I can order this, I can order that.
Send me your prayer books.
Yeah, send me your
little
pamphlets. Yeah, send me your, and that's a difficulty. That's a sadness that we have because there are so many wonderful apostolates out there that are providing beautiful things.
Well, and the other piece to that is people go online.
Oh yes, and they'll find it.
The perfect item they want. And it's in this color, and it's kind of a off purple, and and I have to have that one. You can't keep everything that's out there available. And so that's probably more than anything. I think people would rather come in the store and buy, but the choices are not the same in a store. We can't be all things to all
But
people.
that is the result also of our technological market.
Well, and
period.
and our consumerism.
Yes, and our consumerism.
Our consumerism, I need a rosary, and it's got to be this color, and it's got to be out of this stone,
Well, that's why we have to push for that fellowship and that connection and remind people what it's
that
really
it's
about.
really not
it's about the relationship, especially as Catholics.
Exactly. It's not about the fact that you got, your niece this one little item 14 years ago, and you got to find that same item today. And we get a lot of that. And that results in a lot of time and effort being spent, with the customer, which can be good, but it can also take away from other things that we, that we need to be doing. So it's just it's kind of a juggling act.
Okay, so next we have a question from one of your employees. Who's gonna just probe a little bit more into what you guys are doing. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video.
My name is Kathleen DeSantis. I work here at Easter's Catholic Books and Gifts, and I've been here for about 10 years now. And there's a question that I've always wanted to ask Denise and Sandy, and that had to do with their conversion story, because if they hadn't been converted and had the idea of starting this bookstore, I wouldn't be talking to you today from it. I wanted to know what happened on that trip that you went with rather reluctantly with your mother and father. What was the conversion, and what got you thinking about possibly opening a Catholic bookstore? Because I know you were important bankers, and that's not what you were looking to do.
Bless her heart.
So please answer the question.
Well, there was a lot that happened on that trip. Part of it was the realization that God is real. Our Lady is real. And it was a yearning, it was a thirst that was finally coming to the forefront. I don't know that I realized that I had that in me until those moments in Medjugorje. I went from no Mass to daily Mass. Sandy and I both experienced some unique events over there. I was 35 at the time, but I had searched in a lot of different places, mostly the New Age areas, when I left the church when I was just 16. So
It's a dangerous place.
it's
to
a
be searching.
dangerous place.
And that sounds like I say it lightly, but I don't.
No, it's true. And it really filled me with what I knew was truth. So I think now what prepared us is literally my sister and I used to collect used books back in the early 80s.
For me, after Medjugorje, the conversion was very strong. I mean, the determination to come back to the church was strong. I hadn't raised my children in the church. My husband wasn't a Catholic. In fact, one of the biggest arguments we ever had was bringing a crucifix into our home. But as far as the books are concerned, coming back, I realized that I didn't have an understanding of the faith. And that if I was going to embrace this faith and I was going to live it, I had to understand it and know it. And that was more than just knowing that Mary, was conceived without sin and Mary was, the mother of Jesus. I had to understand the teachings behind that. And so I started searching books, reading. History was big. History of the church was big for me. Lives of the Saints, big. And then just through that and our introduction to Father Crappie, the books just kind of grew out of all of that. And wanting to share that.
And there was almost a supernatural thirst after we left Medjugorje to learn more. I think that our working with Father Crappie during his teachings of Jesus Christ, he was very good at mentoring us on wonderful books to start with. The Navarre commentaries, the In Conversation with God, the documents of the church. And he really did teach us what to look for and how to discern properly the books that we kept in stock. So all of that was part of it. The plan was bigger than we were, so.
We had a couple of unique experiences, the two of us, and one of them was walking back from Apparition Hill through a vineyard. We came upon an area that there was garbage burning, and the odor was this is definitely garbage burning. And all of a sudden, just the scent of roses enveloped us. Well, we'd only been there a day or two, and we really had no idea of any of the supposed phenomena that was going on there. We both stopped and looked at each other, and we both started crying at the same time. And it wasn't even, it was sobbing tears. And we started looking around for roses, and there was nothing. So we said, Kathy's gonna probably know what this is. So we took off, went back to the church where our other sister was, and she explained that was Mary, letting us know that she was there. And she went back with us to the place, and there was no smell at all. So, that was maybe one of I think God gives us encouragements along the way to just reinforce within our puny little minds that He is there and that, He is calling us. He's the hound of heaven. He's drawing us back. Mary is there. And then we had another little experience where we both, years later, realized that we both were listening to a sermon given by Father Jozo in Croatian, and we were understanding the words. And neither one of us really at the time recognized that it was something supernatural. We just thought we were just, learned the language pretty fast over there. And because we heard it, we knew it was Croatian, but we understood what he was saying. And it wasn't for several years later that I realized, and then I mentioned it to her. I didn't even know she had had the same experience. And so that was, that was kind of
I remember that homily. It was pretty amazing.
What did he say?
What he said, what I remember, and it was the first time I'd heard it because obviously I'd been away. He spoke about the war because the war was
imminent.
It was imminent. But he spoke about a war much more real and much more difficult, which was the spiritual war we were all in. And when I heard that, I didn't really I didn't really understand because, again, I was coming from a place that I'd not really even considered that. But then he went into detail about the things that we all encounter on a daily basis that draw us away from God, the war that we are in. So it was pretty profound. And again, like I say, I thought, wow, this guy is really good because I can understand him and I know he's not speaking English. So.
Well, and he spoke about the poverty in the United States. And the great poverty in the United States is not a lack of money. It's an overindulgence in consumerism and a distraction from, our spirituality. And that was a part, he wove that in, it was a part of it. So it was profound and, but not as profound as we realized until years later, I think. For me, it was several years later.
That's such a beautiful gift to receive the gift of the interpretation of tongues.
Yeah,
What I really love, that's that beautiful experience that you had in that garbage heap, right? Where you had this magnificent smell of roses and you just know Mary is present. Whether or not you know, but that's Mary being present.
We knew we were being enveloped by love.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It reminds me of Saint Bernadette, who went up to the hill where it's this dirty, gross, infested area, and that's where Mary chooses to be.
I never thought about that connection before, but that's,
the COVID era.
My gosh, that's exactly right. I never thought about that connection.
The humility of our mother, and so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And I never really thought of it, but it was a blanket of love, is what it was. And the touching of us was a deep touching. It wasn't, we weren't upset about anything. It was an emotion of love that we felt, I think. So, yeah, we were given a gift. And as I said before, coming back, the gift for me was within a few years, my whole family came into the church, and not because of anything that came out of my mouth.
So now we have another surprise question for you right over here.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Denise. After all these years, you are still my heroes. You've got a beautiful store and a wonderful faith formation program, and you see all things Catholic coming and going, and you make our Lord and Our Lady smile a lot. So with you seeing all things Catholic coming and going, my question to you is, what are your favorite Christmas traditions? Love you. Bye.
Fran.
We love Fran.
Is she from the store too?
Yes. And she's a very special part. In fact, she came in, at our old store, we had a beautiful prayer room. And she would come in for each season and decorate it with her son, Joseph. So we were very blessed to have her part of us. And as far as traditions, Christmas traditions, I would have to say our Christmas Eve is part of every Christmas Eve. Our sister Kathy hosts us at her home, almost 40 of us. We all attend Mass at St. Mel's. It's the 4:30 Mass with all the kids.
And there's probably 35 of us easily at Mass.
So, and then we go over to her house and we have dinner and play, and we do, sometimes we'll sing, and just a great big family gathering.
The beauty for me is seeing my sisters, their husbands, their children, and all of our grandkids there. And my mother, who's
and
still
our mother's
living.
89. Who comes into the store almost every day and works, bless her heart.
Aww.
Dad passed away about 10 years ago, but he was always it just brought tears to his eyes to have us all together in Mass, because that's what he prayed for. That's what Mom and Dad prayed for all those years. So.
And they finally got us back, and our children, probably most of them, are practicing the faith in some manner or other.
So, as the Christmas season is approaching, and it seems like secular society has been trying to warp Christmas into more of a consumerism-based thing. So how have you guys noticed that in your store? What's your response to that?
Because of the economic situation that we've all been put through in the last, 5, 6, 7 years, we're seeing people who are recognizing that they want their dollars to speak for who they are. So, because that's the most important way we can express our values. What am I going to support? am I going to support this local business, or am I going to, jump on the internet? Now, still that's a huge concern, but people are learning that their dollars speak volumes. So they are encouraged when they walk into a store and they see a store that reflects what they believe, where they're not assaulted with movies that are questionable, where we really work hard to make certain that family issues are addressed, where you can find a book for someone who's grieving and send out that Christmas greeting that expresses a true sorrow and yet joy in eternity. We try very hard to make certain that there are things that in the store that you can give to family members who might not be disposed to a Catholic viewpoint, but gifts that truly remind that person that what you hold dear. So, and what the season is for.
More subtle, less, obvious.
Like Mystic Monk coffee. I think you guys have that.
Yeah, we did carry that for a while. I don't know that we've done it for a while, but
yeah, and because it's the health department food in the stores.
Yes, we would have to have a special permit.
What would you say your common things are for Christmas that people buy? Are they like Advent calendars or books? Or
a lot of Advent calendars, a lot of Advent candles. Do books, they do gifts, they do medals, a lot of medals.
Gift certificates.
Rosary bracelets, gift certificates, a lot of books. Nativities for the children. Even little items that, right now this year we've got these little cars, but they've got, each one of them got a scripture on them.
So cute.
So wonderful little items like that too. And just little stocking stuffers, just reminders. They might go out and spend, money at a major department store, but they'll fill a stocking with something else.
And if you are into adult coloring,
yes.
We have some wonderful adult coloring books.
We do, that's true, that are all faith-based. Yes, oh my gosh.
And stained glass windows and
scripture.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. So that's a fun thing.
Puzzles.
Coloring with a purpose. You can
That's
prefer
right.
meditation.
It is.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
It is.
Oh, that's great. So as Christmas is quickly approaching, what would you say your gift is going to be to the world?
That's big. One of the things that we have determined is of great need right now that we're going to implement in January is on the third Wednesday of every month at 9:30 in the morning, we're going to gather together a group of individuals who have helped us pray before and after the election. And we're going to continue our prayers for our elected leaders in the United States and for the world. I really do believe that that is part of our ministry. And we have a great group of individuals that are committed to that same ministry.
So with all the different people that are coming through your store, you have people at different places spiritually. What's that been like, and have you seen a change over the years in how you approach people and where people are coming from spiritually?
Well, I think to begin with, we've changed in our spiritual life over the years. I think when we started out, we had a very narrow view of the faith. And I think it's broadened because of the people that come in. We've begun to see that the faith is big and it's wide and it accommodates all different kinds of things. I think culturally, we've seen maybe a migration away from the traditions of the church, statues, devotionals, those kinds of things. And the way we've tried to address it is gently to move people towards thinking a little bit more about, rather than Eastern mysticism, let's read the life of St. Teresa of Avila or the little child, the little flower. And I think those are the kind of things that we've observed over the years, is just culturally.
How I think that Catholics look at evangelization now is a gift of where John Paul II brought us. He's helped us to understand that it's not necessarily the words that we speak, as St. Francis of Assisi says, but it is in the action that we do. It truly is the lives we live. And none of us are going to measure up to what we would hope to be. And yet it's in that struggle that we are all called to continue. And I think when people come in and they realize that Sandy and I came from this background and we really have endured a lot of the same struggles that they're going through, I think that it helps for people to understand we know what it feels like to be disappointed. We know what it feels like to fail. We know what it feels like to sin and to go to confession over and over and over again for the same thing. We know what it feels like to have a family that might not follow you in the faith and you want so desperately to see them enjoy the beauty and the peace that you have found in our incredible faith. So helping people understand we're just regular people and that God is with us through every single one of those, through all of these journeys.
And seeing Him in each one of them that comes in and trying to reflect Him to them, meeting them where they are, you know, and not putting expectations on people.
It's beautiful. I love it. It's truly a reflection of St. Matthew's gospel about just sowing seed. And I just see you guys so much doing this, like throwing seed. You're sowing it everywhere. And like God, we hope that it takes root in a lot of these people's souls. But God bless your work. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And I just want to wish you both a very Merry Christmas, a happy Advent season. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you,
Thank you, Patience. God bless you.
God bless
Very
you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of 100-Fold. It was a gift to be able to hear the Easter sisters share with us how they receive spiritual gifts in Medjugorje and how they're using those gifts given by God to go produce 100-fold in their store. May we all produce the 100-fold during this Christmas season. From everyone here at Shalom World and from myself, we wish you a very Merry Christmas.